In the spring of 2024, two of the most powerful men in German football picked up the phone and called Pep Guardiola. Bayern Munich had just finished third in the Bundesliga for the first time since 2011. Their manager was gone, their identity was in crisis, and their fourth-choice candidate was a recently relegated championship manager from Lancashire. Guardiola didn't hesitate, didn't caveat, didn't say, well, it depends. He told Bayern to take Vincent Kompany blindly. Then he added something that should have made every football journalist on the planet stop what they were doing.
I said that sooner or later he will be manager for Man City. When? I don't know.
11 months later, Kompany won the Bundesliga, lost twice all season, scored 99 goals, and suddenly everyone wanted to know how a relegated manager became the best coach in Germany. But Guardiola already knew. He'd known for 7 years. And he'd been telling anyone who'd listen. Nobody was listening. When Pep Guardiola walked into Manchester City in the summer of 2016, he inherited a squad full of established stars. Sergio Aguero, David Silva, Kevin De Bruyne, Yaya Toure. Players who had already won Premier League titles. Players who already knew how to win in England. But the player who caught his attention first wasn't the most talented, wasn't the most decorated, it was the most injured. Vincent Kompany had been City's captain since 2011. He'd led them to their first Premier League title in 44 years, scored that header against United that changed the course of a season, and built a reputation as one of the fiercest defenders the league had ever seen. But by the time Guardiola arrived, Kompany's body was betraying him. Muscle injuries, calf problems. He played just 62 games across Guardiola's 3 seasons, barely a full season's worth of football in 3 years. And yet, Guardiola would later say that Kompany was one of the most important figures he worked with in Manchester, not despite the injuries, because of what Kompany did when he wasn't playing. See, here's what Guardiola noticed. When Kompany was fit, he didn't just defend, he organised. He positioned teammates with hand gestures and shouted instructions while the ball was still 50 yards away. He ran defensive meetings, not because someone told him to, because he decided it was necessary. Nedum Onuoha, who played alongside Kompany for years, later explained it perfectly. He said Kompany started facilitating defensive meetings on his own, and that's when everyone recognized he was growing into something more than a captain. He wanted the responsibility. He craved the structure, but it was the intellectual side that really separated him. While captaining one of the richest football clubs on earth, Kompany was simultaneously completing a global MBA at the University of Manchester. His dissertation? How Premier League clubs can benefit from home advantage. He was literally studying the science of the game while playing it at the highest level. Guardiola saw all of this. The on-pitch coaching, the standard policing in training, the tactical obsession, the geometry of defensive lines. The way Kompany could speak to every clique in the dressing room because the man is fluent in English, French, Dutch, and German. And Pep filed it away. Because Guardiola doesn't give throwaway compliments. He's the man who once said he judges players on what they do when they don't have the ball. And what Kompany did when he didn't have the ball, when he wasn't even on the pitch, was manage. But the real proof? That would come after Kompany left, and it would not be pretty. In May 2019, Vincent Kompany did something that made everyone in football briefly lose their minds. With the Premier League title on the line, with Liverpool breathing down City's neck, he collected the ball 30 yards from goal against Leicester and decided, against all logic and probability, to shoot. It was the first goal he'd ever scored from outside the box in his entire City career, and it might have been the most important goal the club had ever scored. City won the league by a single point. Days later, he was gone, back to Anderlecht, the club that raised him, as player-manager, and the farewell letter he wrote told you everything about what was coming next. He wrote that Guardiola reignited his love for the game, that he had witnessed, participated, analysed, absorbed, studied, and that City played the football he wanted to teach. Not play, teach. The word choice was surgical, and then reality kicked him in the teeth. Anderlecht were a mess. Belgium's most successful club had been destroyed by financial mismanagement, fan protests, ownership chaos. They'd lost their way so badly that when Company walked in, he was walking into head-on traffic. The player-manager experiment was a disaster. Anderlecht had their worst start to a league season in memory. Company had to step back from touchline duties because you can't organise a defensive line and manage substitutions at the same time. Turns out, being both the surgeon and the patient doesn't work. He retired from playing in August 2020 and took the job full-time, fourth place in his first